I like Julius. I like his energy. We might differ in a few things because we are fighting for different things. For him, he's fighting for economic rights. For us, we're fighting for human rights. I'm sure people love President Traore. So it would be wonderful if he gave them chance to elect him as president. South Africa continues to relate with General Museveni, just like it relates with many other dictators across Africa. If I'm still alive, I'll be running for president next year and I'll be challenging General Museveni.
Fam, I just want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's episode, Pace Car Rental. Use promo code SMWX for 10% off your next car rental and make sure you show Pace some love as they're showing this channel some love. Now, let's get into the episode. Spread the fire. Welcome back to SMWX, and today I am extremely excited and honored to be joined by a trailblazer in African politics, a person who has vast experience in the artistic side in music, but also on the activism side as one of the foremost voices calling for change in Africa in the present era, none other than the president and leader of the National Unity Platform, rapper extraordinaire, politician, and now a guest on SMWX, Mr. Bobi Wine. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Thank you, brother. The pleasure is mine. I said to myself when I started this platform, one day I'm going to interview Bobi Wine. So.
I should say to myself every time I think about something, because it looks like the tongue creates, right?
For sure, for sure. You know, I was interested in the story of your father, who in whose footsteps you in some ways have followed, who himself, I believe, was also an opposition politician. Talk to us about the way that you drew inspiration from your father.
Thank you very much. My father inspires me, but I would honestly not credit what I do to my father. And I could credit it little to my own family. Yes, my family, right from my grandfather, they were political revolutionaries. My grandfather and my father took part in the war that brought in the current government. Indeed, my grandfather passed away in that war. My father was taken political prisoner, sentenced to death, but thanks to corruption, then he was bought out of jail, and that's how he survived. And even our eldest brother was in the struggle. So yes, my family was in the struggle, but that is when I was very young, too young to understand, in fact, because I was born during the war, and everything that I learned about my father was in the past. So yes, I share his DNA, and I grew up in a home where values, especially freedom, earning freedom at whatever cost, were important. But I would credit the inspiration and courage and image to very many people, including Dr. Kizza Besigye, who is now in prison. I would credit young people all over Africa that challenged me to rise to the occasion and speak for myself.
Sure, absolutely. And speaking for yourself, in some ways, started with a musical journey.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I was an artist, and speaking for myself through music, in fact, was my most important target. Still, I owe the music background to my family because I was born to a musical family. There was a choir, a family choir, when I was born, and when I was growing up. It was hired to sing on funerals, on parties and all that. But mainly they sang hymns, Christian songs.
I see.
And that was not my thing. And for me, I was more drawn and inspired by Jamaican music, the likes of Shabba, Buju Banton, and indeed Bob Marley. Looking at their videos and the lyrics they sang, that is what was representing me, because they were singing about the situation in the ghetto and talking about how it could be better. And that's what I was singing about. Having grown, of course, in a political family. But like I said, I was young when all that happened. Growing out, I was only growing up in the ruins of a political mess. A war ended in 1986. General Museveni took over. My family had lost what all people that get involved in political violence face. So we were recovering, and my mother was telling me only the sad and negative story about the political involvement. And it's for that reason that I kept out of politics. However, through music, I was speaking my views and expressing what I felt and suggesting options. It went on until I was about 35 when I threw in my heart into politics. So the genes of my father came haunting me and got me in trouble.
Absolutely. And it's interesting to witness the evolution in your musical career because you didn't necessarily start out only speaking about social issues. It was in some ways, just the usual music, fun, and then it slowly became more edutainment and eventually, the voice of something of an entire political movement. Talk to us about how your musical journey evolved.
True. My music, although it was ghetto, was not really revolutionary or even political in the beginning. Like I told you, I grew up with my mother, much as I had that urge to speak for myself. Largely, as a ghetto child, I sang about the girls and the drinks and the Beamer and the Escalade and the fun. And of course, the violence.
Sure.
And it was fun and beneficial. Until this one day, and I've told this story before, at the height of my musical career, 24 years, driving a Cadillac Escalade, model 2003, 24-inch spinning wheels.
Yeah.
That's all a young, successful artist would want. And this one eventful night, I was in a club called Angenois Discotheque. And all eyes were on me, especially the girls. As I walked in, I used to move in waves. So I entered the club, but little did I know that my flossing and fun was annoying some other young man of my age, but was serving in security and in the military. So as I was walking down outside the club, this guy came to me and slapped me just out of the blue. Of course, I turned around. Turning around, he pulled a gun and put it on my face and slapped me some more. Wow. He said, when I asked, what's your problem, man? He said, why are you showing off? Don't you know this country has owners? And you're not one of them. And slapped me some more. Of course, people gathered, including the security of the club, but they couldn't do nothing because they knew this guy was a high-ranking person in the military, coming from the right family and the right tribe, and he had the power to do all that he was doing.
Sure.
Now I put my gun down. I was defeated. And they slapped me some more. And the club security now started pleading with him instead. Say, Afande, Afande. In our language, it's more like officer. Say, officer, please forgive him. He didn't know that he was showing off in the wrong place. So this guy ordered me to get into my lousy car and drive off. And I did. Of course, I was humiliated. There were girls and people, and some people were taking pictures. But as I drove home, the distance between the club and home was about 6 miles, but it felt like 200 miles. I was silent. So much was going on in my mind. But ultimately, I felt like I deserved it. Why? Because throughout my musical career, I was a popular guy hanging out with the powerful and the wealthy. And all this injustice was happening to everybody. And I was silent about it. in the same clubs, we would see people, especially those that are connected and powerful, pick up girls and abuse them and do all kinds of things that they want to people. But we couldn't do nothing. I mean, I couldn't say nothing because I thought that was not my business. I was safe anyway. This time it was happening to me, a so-called superstar, but it was happening to me. That night, I took a conscious decision that I will fight back, not just for myself, but for everybody that had and was still facing that. I felt that was my only way to fix what had wronged with my silence and complacency. And it changed my music. And that's when I started singing about social justice and confronting through music the injustices that were going on, including rampant land grabs, the violence on people, the road rage where if you are a taxi driver, you cannot drive, you cannot overtake, a high-ranking officer. They will pull over you and, cane you before they let you go, things like that. So I felt like, I was not any safe. I was not any safer than the ordinary person.
Sure.
So that, for me, was my turning point. Just like everybody out there has a turning point. Yeah.
It's a fascinating story. And ultimately, when you did move to create a more social conscience in your music, I mean, it exploded even further.
Yeah, I earned more respect.
Sure.
People began to take me more serious. Interestingly, I got more fans because my music got more meaning. I grew up more. And it's one thing that leads you to another. People started coming to me, asking me to speak out. And I started singing about those things. But also, interestingly though, corporate companies kept coming to me. I started being a kind of moral voice in the ghetto. Corporate companies came to me. Social organizations and non-government organizations that wanted to push messages of sanitation, messages of behavior change, messages like the usage of condoms among young people, the fights against HIV/AIDS and all that.
Yeah.
And in a way, it was one thing that kept leading to the other. I was not very politically defined, so I was not a danger. And I had my long dreadlocks, and I'm a kind of guy that had publicly in the past professed that, I smoke weed like anybody else. So I was not a threat to the government. Much as I was doing serious stuff, I was an unserious person, and that kept me safe. Yeah.
Let's talk about the transition then to politics, and in particular the Kyadondo election, and how that in many ways has laid the ground for your current political career, which continues. What are your memories, and what do you think were some of the most important moments in that election campaign, and how did it come about?
The transition, the practical transition, I think it took time because between the time when my mind switched to when I ran for politics, now that was a span of 10 years.
Sure.
Because I was about 25 years when I got that attack. And when I changed in that 25 years, so much went on, including my own transformation from a bad man from the ghetto to a ghetto president.
Yeah.
But I was still a ghetto guy. Of course, I would have political opinions, and sometimes I would share them in a conscious and careful way. We would have political discussions as a crew, me and my friends.
Yeah.
And we would get angry, but we always kept the cup tight. In 2015, that campaign, artists were brought together because following the influence that we had got, there are other artists as well. So the president of our country then, Julius Museveni, sent out his people to source artists to sing a praise song for him.
Right, sure.
And they were paid a lot of money. And they reached out to me, and I rejected the offer. It was a huge offer. Money that I had never touched. Money that I have never touched.
Wow.
Yeah. But I thought, now this was a very big moral challenge. For me, it has been the biggest moral challenge. Because I was being paid to lie, to praise what I know is wrong. And I refused. Of course, it cost me a great deal. But that refusal still opened my eyes more to our influence as artists. The election went on. It was a terrible election, and I was very politically conscious then.
Yeah.
I saw the opposition leader detained in his home. For the first time, the internet was cut off and all that. And we had a very, very nasty election that pissed me off. And in 2016, that's when I took the decision and said, you know what? I think it is enough singing about these issues. I think it's high time we started acting about these issues. But I was saying this, but I'm just an artist, not even with the necessary education and knowledge to take me into that fight. So in 2016, I went back to school, and I wanted to study the law. That is where I met various friends, including the current Secretary General of our party, the party that I lead. He was our professor at law school. And through the conversations that we had with students and with the professors, we realized that it was foolhardy to study constitutionalism. To study constitutional law in a country that had no constitutionalism. Fast forward, myself, our professor and a few students left school, and we went and formed a political movement called the People Power Movement. But before then, I'll take you back a little. How did I even take the decision to run for a position as Member of Parliament? I was still at law school. We were having these annoying conversations. I would go to school through the week, and weekends, I would go do my music. Now, this one, everybody in life has this friend that talks you into trouble, makes you feel like you're Superman. Say, yo, bro, go, you can do that.
Yeah.
So I have this crazy friend called Nubian Lee. We were driving from the eastern part of the country, and we were discussing, of course, the political dynamics in the country. Whenever there's a headline, there's a newspaper called The Monitor. It puts a placard on the streets. I think you do the same in South Africa.
Yeah.
Now, what was the headline this time? Chadondo East MP loses seat. So me and Nubian looked at ourselves, looked at it again, looked at ourselves.
Yeah.
We didn't have to say a thing.
Wow. So that was the moment.
That was the moment. He said, we are going to Parliament.
And you ran,
I
won.
ran. Of course, the government, the ruling party had a candidate, and the main opposition party had a candidate. I ran as an independent candidate.
Incredible.
I got 80% of the vote.
Wow.
Now that was insane. It was like a mass awakening of people. The things I'd been singing about, the things that we had been talking about.
Yeah.
The common people, over 80% of our people live in poverty. And these people had been listening to my music. For a moment, I felt like Bob Marley and Muhammad Ali, Bob Marley and Malcolm X had possessed me.
Wow.
And I spoke all that I could speak to the people. Gladly, the people were listening, especially the young people. Fast forward, we had that election. I went to Parliament. But whatever we were doing was a mass awakening, because so much happened in that short time. I was elected to Parliament, but again, what I found in Parliament was a proposal to scrap the age limit, the constitutional age limit of the president,
Absolutely.
to allow General Museveni to run again.
Yeah.
Remember, about 10 years earlier, he had again changed the constitution and scrapped the term limits. Now he was intending to rule forever, so the only impediment was the age limit.
Ready to take your podcast to the next level? At Ayeye Studios, you can film, edit, and release your podcast all in one place. From crisp visuals to clean sound, we've got you covered, and we can even distribute your podcast on YouTube and other platforms. The best part? It's brought to you by the same team that brings you SMWX quality. Are you ready to take your podcast to the next level? Welcome to Ayeye Studios.
So
That is where I get.
General Museveni,
Yeah.
still leader of Uganda, had by that time in around 2016-17 been in power already for about 30 years.
Oh
if I'm
yeah.
not mistaken.
Oh yeah.
And as you come to parliament on this wave of an incredible independent campaign that shocks everyone, there's this debate that the age limit, which would have barred him from continuing, should be removed. Effectively, this was an attempt to continue staying on in power.
Absolutely.
And you were violently once, this is going to be a long theme, really suppressed in trying to raise concern about this attempt to stay in power. Can you talk us through that moment when you were challenging the age limit in Parliament? Because it was really a new movement in many ways, on the back already of another movement that you'd begun.
I entered Parliament amid these ululations and excitement and so much anticipation. I did not have so much resistance or hate because I seemed just as another exciting young man who would be easily bought out. Honestly, I did not know what I was dealing with.
Wow.
Because I'm sure if I knew, maybe I wouldn't do it the way I did it. Because here I am, I get into Parliament, General Museveni is pushing a bill, and this bill is his life, is the lifeline of the dynasty, is the lifeline of all those that depend on him. So I come into Parliament that has very long-serving politicians, both on the government side and on the opposition side. And it's as if fait accompli for General Museveni.
Yeah.
But with my entry, the population's focus gets into Parliament. And that is what I'd wanted to do. Because I said, if the Parliament cannot come to the ghetto will come to the Parliament. Now, I wanted to come with the entire generation to Parliament, to focus on Parliament. And Parliament started trending since then. We started putting members of Parliament on a hot seat because we encouraged the people, especially the youth, to reach out to their members of Parliament and put them on pressure not to touch the Constitution. Because if the members of Parliament don't change the Constitution, then Uganda would have a chance to a democracy. But again, by doing that, we were starting a fight with not just the government of Uganda, but with Uganda Police, with Uganda People's Defense Force, with Bank of Uganda, and with every institution of state in Uganda. Because in Uganda, General Museveni is the state and the state is him. Now here, we were daring to challenge the status quo. All the state machinery was unleashed, not just on me, but on other people that dared to resist. And yet they had to resist because the eyes of the people were on them.
Yeah.
Now it got even more aggressive, but the more brutal the government became, is the more people got focused, and is the more attention that was drawn in. So largely, that was my entry into challenging General Museveni. Fast forward, of course, having planes surrounding the Parliament and the Parliament besieged, having the special forces jump into Parliament and beating everybody. You must have seen that fight
Absolutely.
that we put up in Parliament. Eventually, they passed that bill that allows General Museveni to rule forever. Of course, after that, I said rather emotionally that, okay, if General Museveni says he's running again, I'm going to challenge him. That excited people.
Yeah.
I had already said it. I couldn't take it back. It's like when this bully is in a school and is threatening everybody, including the teachers.
Yeah.
Then this young man says, I'll beat him. And everybody say, yeah, let's go beat him. Okay, what did I just say? But I had said it, and I'm not a man to take back my word. Fast forward, here we are.
Absolutely. And, through that process, as you became a national politician, this move towards challenging General Museveni and his party, things really turn quite scarily and horrifyingly violent. We have the Arua situation. And, I'm sure it's something that's well known in Uganda, but for other viewers in different parts of the continent, and especially the South African audience, some of the stories of repression are really harrowing. Not just your own repression, detention, intimidation, bullets meant for you hitting other people who are close to you, but others around you. Just talk us through, the sheer extent of the repression that you faced once it was clear that you were a national figure who could actually challenge the Museveni regime.
I wouldn't talk about this repression as something in the past. Actually, this is something ongoing.
Absolutely.
As we speak.
Your leg has just been seriously injured.
Oh, yeah.
Actually. Yeah.
When we started being very active in parliament and connecting with other people, General Museveni saw the real threat on his hold on to power. He had been in power for so long, more than 30 years then. The corruption had skyrocketed. Basically, everything had gone a mess. And here was somebody that is making efforts to unite all the forces that want change in Uganda. We started, after they changed the constitution, then we knew that the best thing to do is to go back to the population.
Yeah.
And gladly, there were by-elections that were happening then. At that time, I'd already started gaining national popularity because I'm an artist, and people wanted, it's as if they had never seen me again, because indeed they had never seen me without my dreadlocks. They had never seen me without my sagging jeans. They had never seen me speaking straight English because I was speaking in slang. Now, they were seeing their artist, but they wanted to see me in a different shape. So whenever there was a by-election, we put a candidate.
Sure.
First, it was in Tungamo. We went and supported a candidate. She won unexpected. That was in the western part of Uganda where General Museveni comes from. We beat him. We went and supported a candidate, and she defeated his candidate. The next election was in Jinja, that is in the eastern side of Uganda.
Right.
We fronted a candidate. He won the one of General Museveni. Amid his excitement. Then there was another by-election in the far eastern part of Uganda. We went there. Boom! We defeated General Museveni's candidate. Said, Of course, by then I was hearing threats and some caring friends of mine from within the system. Remember, I had been a star and I had been having links with these powerful people until I dared to challenge their boss. So many of them still communicated to me and they told me, an order's been given that you should be killed, so you should be careful. But I was too crazy to be advised. The next by-election was in the northern part of Uganda, Arua.
Yeah.
And we went. We supported a candidate. And it became very clear that General Museveni was defeated in all the four corners of the country, in the central and south where I come from, in the west where he comes from, in the east and in the far east. Now it was in the northern part of Uganda. Defeat was imminent, and he could see that. What did they do on the eve of the election, on the last day of campaign? They attacked us. They shot at my car. Luckily, I just stepped out. They shot and killed my driver. Beat people, killed a few other people, random people, and all that. They abducted me, took me to military detention, tortured me and everything, terrorized the whole place. But guess what? Because we had told people to come out and vote fearlessly, people turned up, they voted. We defeated General Museveni when me and the candidate were in prison. Now that was another dangerous move. Of course, every bad thing comes with a positive. So much as they had killed my driver, they had tortured me so bad, they had done all manner of horrifying things, the international attention was drawn to the country. And now that gave me a semblance of safety, that it was hard to kill me outrightly. For some reason, it gave me another lease of life. When I got out in prison, many of my friends thought I'd given up. I told them, I'm starting from where I ended. Excitement again. And we kept going.
Yeah. Was that when you released Freedom?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, like, you after all of this, you then come out with the song.
Oh, yeah.
The Defiant song.
Oh, yeah. Music alone can deal with that.
Yeah. And then, of course, we have the famous 2021 election.
Infamous.
Indeed. Yeah, quite right. And I mean, officially, firstly, the fact that you've even got to the point where you're now running against Museveni is an incredible achievement. It took serious defiance. This election has been marred in controversy. You eventually just gave up trying to show how it was irregular. You were purported to have received 35% of the votes, Museveni 58%. But you've maintained that this election was
absolutely. It wasn't an election per se. It was a military operation. But it showed the world. We went into this election knowing we're going to beat Museveni hands down, but also knowing that with the police and military and electoral commission that is in his pocket, he will not announce us. But we wanted the world to see him for what he is and strip of him all the deceitful legitimacy that he had been having all along. We succeeded in doing that. We showed the world that they were dealing with a criminal, especially the development partners, the United States and European countries, including South Africa. We made it clear that they are dealing with a criminal. So, of course, they continue to deal with him, but shamefully. I mean, South Africa continues to relate with General Museveni, just like it relates with many other dictators across Africa, which we condemn, which we think is wrong. I mean, we have said it many times that when you guys were struggling under apartheid, the rest of Africa joined your moral cause. Therefore, it's a moral duty for South Africa, especially the government, to stand on the right side of history. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's been an ongoing problem with our foreign policy in that we call ourselves a democracy. We're a lucky country to the extent that we've secured a lot of constitutional freedoms, but on the continent, we don't seem to have supported the same freedoms for people who are going through political assassinations, brutal political torture. Our voice doesn't seem to be consonant with our own values at home.
I think that is political hypocrisy, and somebody's got to call it out. Why do I say that? Just like I've reminded you that Uganda had a chance to choose diplomacy over democracy. They did not. The people did not, and neither did the administration? Why is South Africa doing that? I mean, and this happens many times when nations choose diplomacy over democracy. That is not the solution, because it's a betrayal of the populations from those countries. We always look out for each other. If Pan-Africanism means all Africans being uplifted at the same time, unlike Kwame Nkrumah told us that Africa can't be free when there are parts of Africa that are unfree. We are no longer colonized. We don't have colonialism. Therefore, African countries have the right and indeed the power to do the right things for every corner of Africa. Oppression in one part of Africa threatens freedom in other parts of Africa, because dictatorships can actually be exported, you know. And yes, you South Africans have
What do you think
some
South Africa...
unconstitutional rights, but those constitutional rights are also endangered if they are not respected elsewhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you think we can do to put further pressure on regimes in Africa that are engaging in this kind of political intimidation of opposition leaders?
We no longer now request that from government officials. We request that from citizens. We think if citizens unite and stand with each other, the governments will be too ashamed to support what's wrong, you know? I mean, you guys have some freedoms. Yeah, I don't think anybody in South Africa is going to be arrested for tweeting about an injustice that is known. And we are connected as nations, as a continent. We are connected via the internet. Use it and speak for us. But most importantly, use it and call out your leaders not to misuse your taxpayers' money, you know, supporting countries that don't respect rights. But even when they don't use your taxpayers' money, the misrepresentation, we think it should be a no-go zone for a leader of a democracy to help Noble stand shoulder to shoulder with the rights-abusing despot. Yeah.
You made a fascinating announcement recently in The Guardian, I believe, but can you confirm for us that you are available to stand in the 2026 election against General Museveni once more?
Without a doubt. If I'm still alive, I'll be running for president next year, and I'll be challenging General Museveni. Wow. And I'll defeat him again like I have done before. But I don't do this as I, although I say I'm saying I because I want to take the responsibility as an individual. But everything that I do is not just in my own right as an individual. It's a representation of a generation that is yearning for change, that is yearning for the chance to determine its own destiny. Yeah.
It's going to be a fascinating election, one of the most important on the continent that year.
Absolutely. All we seek is the attention of the continent, the attention of the world. Democracy dies only in the dark. We don't ask anybody from outside Uganda to come help us. We just ask them to amplify our voices and to please not get focus off us.
Yeah.
So they don't crush us in the dark. Yeah.
Absolutely. In terms of Uganda itself, I mean, we're in an interesting time in the world now with President Trump putting tariffs on various African countries. Uganda actually becoming drawn into BRICS in a more serious way. What do you feel about the foreign policy position of Uganda right now, and how do you think it should change going forward under your leadership, for example?
Uganda and our foreign policy should not be about begging or bending law. It should be collaboration. It should be trade, not grants, should be trade, it should be collaboration and not handouts. Yeah. Of course, Uganda should maintain its sovereignty, but should relate with the rest of the world as a nation that's independent. Uganda, of course, should pursue a route of working more closely with the bloc nations and with the continent as a whole. If we bargain together as Africa, we win together. But unfortunately, and for the lack of excessive power, nations tend to negotiate as them. And they are either getting bad deals like we're getting in Uganda, or crushed, and decisions are made according to the interests of those that are in power, who largely make decisions influenced by their desired stay in power.
And in terms of the domestic policy situation, what key reforms will you be pushing for in the 2026 election? What do you think economically and domestically the country is getting wrong that you want to shift and change?
I'll say the country is getting most of things wrong. The first important thing we want to deal with is freedoms and rights. Now that's what makes citizens involved in not only political but also economic matters of the nation, to re-empower them to own up the country. If we have freedoms and rights, if we have political stability, then we are going to have a lot of Ugandans who have left the country because of the situation we're living in and are instead building other countries. We have a lot of Ugandans, resourceful Ugandans here in South Africa,
Absolutely.
in Europe, in America, in the Arab world. We want to get all those people back and get all that money back into the country. And then we want to focus on rebuilding our human resource. Our biggest problem is unemployment back home, but that employment did not fall suddenly. That employment is there because many, if not majority, of our young people are not only unemployed, but they are unemployable. They are not skilled because, and that takes me to our education system. It has not sought to address that. My desire is to fix the education system and redesign it to produce people that are productive, that are going to add on something. We've discussed the 4 A's, which are academics, athletics, arts, and agriculture. We want to be deliberate about that. This is not rocket science. People like Ibrahim Traore are doing it, especially in a country that is rich in Uganda. You must have read about the recently discovered massive gold deposit in Uganda that can revolutionize our country, leave alone the minerals like diamonds and all that, leave alone the oil. So we are a country that is endowed. And if we have a policy of having the mineral wealth and the natural wealth of this country benefiting the nation and curbing down on corruption, that would be massive. We are an agricultural country with the most amenable land, but we have not invested in that agriculture. We have instead edged the citizens out and have foreigners who have not even developed it. So we want to have policies that, yes, attract foreign capital investment, but we also want to empower the citizens because historically we are agricultural people. Once upon a time, we were the second largest producers of coffee, only next to Brazil. We can recover that. We can grow our cotton and our gold, our cotton and our tobacco. And in the eastern part of Uganda, we were very, very big producers of sugar. But the new policies of the government tend to age out the citizens. We want to fix that. One other reform that is on my heart is the health care reform. In Uganda, I think now we lose 20 women every day giving birth. And the simple things that kill them is the working conditions and enumerations of our health workers, doctors and nurses, their staffing and all that. We want to fix that by simply, because it has been researched about and recommendations made. There was a recommendation of simply raising the healthcare budget to 15%. So these things have been researched about and recommended. Countries that have yielded to those recommendations, like Rwanda, like Kenya, that is where now our political elite are running for healthcare. So all these things are not rocket science.
Absolutely.
It's just political will to do them. And I'm going to do that stuff, man. I'm going to do it.
I wanted to ask you, because you alluded to Captain Traore and you wearing the red beret, which in some ways is in so many different parts of our continent. Of course, Thomas Sankara, I believe, was the first person to start the trend. Captain Traore wears the red beret. Julius Malena here in South Africa wears the red beret. In some ways, it's become a symbol of a new African movement led by younger politicians who are pushing against the incumbents of old, who have become complacent. What do you make of those two leaders in different parts of the continent who also share your attire? Yeah,
I like Julius. I like his energy. We might differ in a few things because we are fighting for different things. He's like he's in South Africa. For him, he's fighting for economic rights. For us, we're fighting for human rights. We're fighting first and foremost for the right to be human beings and to have that full human dignity. That is how far back we are. So we're fighting for completely different things. But I have a lot of respect for him. I have a lot of respect for President Traore. Of course, I might disagree with the way he came into power. But it's not how it comes into power, but how he uses that power and how he relates with the people. And my only disagreement may be with President Traore and is anchored in history. Because many of the people that come to power have very good words. These nice words that I'm saying, General Museveni said when he was my age, even more eloquently. And we agreed with him. He persuaded our parents and they picked up guns. Many of them died because of the idea that he presented, which even right now, even if they presented it to me, I would agree with it, So he was a great revolutionary. Everything that I'm saying, he was saying. But time, and like they say, absolute power, power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. 40 years later, that's what General Museveni did. When he had started, he was the most amazing person. There was zero corruption. Our country developed massively in the first 10 years of General Museveni's presidency. 1986 to 1996. Now, since then, it has only been rolling back because power got onto his head. Not just General Museveni, so many other revolutionaries. Look at Zimbabwe. Robert Mugabe, you
were named after him.
I was named after Robert Mugabe. He was a prized revolutionary. And he did so many things. But he just did not do one thing. He did not empower the people and he did not allow Zimbabwe to go ahead. It makes me think, I love President Thomas Sankara. But it makes me wonder what would happen if Thomas Sankara made 30 years in power and then power got over him. So that's why I think that President Traore is a great leader, what he's doing for his people. But the lesson we learn, especially from Gaddafi, is that you can do everything for your people. That's one very important thing that you must give your people. The right to determine their future.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have your children, you will love them, you will give them everything. But if you don't let them fly when it's their time to fly, when you don't let them go when it's their time to go, to determine their own destiny, then it's going to become a problem. My father was a doctor, and he wished I would be a doctor. I disappointed him and became a musician. When I went to university, he thought I was studying to become a lawyer. On graduation day, he was told that I studied music, dance, and drama. He refused to come to my graduation because so things like that.
Yeah.
So it's important that President Traore empowers the people. The greatest success of any leader is to give power back to the people. That is the only justification why people joined you in the first place. We praise the great Nelson Mandela, but what can you put a finger first and foremost on what he did? Overcoming power, overcoming the trappings of power.
Yeah.
So the best thing to do that is empowering the people. I'm sure people love President Traore. So it would be wonderful if he gave them a chance to elect him as president so that they feel that he is actually their servant and not their boss. That's my humble opinion.
It's a really important point. And it feels like we're at this moment across the continent where, like you say, we've inherited the 1.0 of liberation politics, and it's reached its sell-by date, and now a new generation.
My friend my money likes to say, now it's time for us to liberate ourselves from the liberators.
Exactly.
And I agree with him.
Yeah. All across the continent, that's the mission for the next era, is to take what progress we've been given and keep those parts that are worth keeping, but
Absolutely.
overturn and uproot those parts that we no longer need.
How I wish our elders would allow us.
Indeed.
How I wish they would realize that our presence is a guarantee of the continuation of us as a people. I wish they get to realize that men come and men go. Unfortunately, it's not the case, especially where I come from in Uganda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you did actually end up with your law degree. That's something
we
both share. We both graduated in roughly the same year.
Ah, brilliant. You went to law school too?
Yeah, I just finished my law degree now.
Congratulations.
Thank you, brother. And
although I got mine in my 40s, shame, but
hey,
better late than never.
There's always something new to learn.
Oh, yeah.
And how has studying the law and completing that degree changed the way you see things, and what has it given you now that you have officially got that degree?
It's interesting. It's not what I expected. I always wanted to be a lawyer. I thought it would make me love the law so much. After studying the law, it made me hate the law even more.
Wow.
It made me hate the law, but it made me hate lawyers even the more. Why? Because, first, I got to know that they know the problem. But I also got to know that they choose not to solve the problem, but to benefit from it. And not all lawyers, I must say many lawyers are in the trenches trying to make things better. But also many lawyers have chosen complacency. They've chosen to betray the law. They've chosen not to be the voices of the law, and yet they are the lawyers. So, just like religious and traditional leaders and all kinds of leaders, lawyers have also, in many ways, let the law down. Yeah.
Well, Bobi Wine, it's been a great honor to have you. We wish you all the best for the future. May you be protected. May your voice continue to echo within Uganda and across the continent.
Thank you.
And may you live to reshape the continent.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And if you will permit me, I always grab the opportunity to send shouts out to our people. I want to salute Ugandans, especially here living in South Africa, those political exiles. Many Ugandans are living here and all over the world, not because they won, but because the situation back home is not safe for them. I salute them. Many of them are now our chapter here in South Africa, and they continue to push the message back home. I salute you and all Ugandans living in the diaspora, but also all Africans, especially the young people of Africa. There's no other time for you to be great than now. Nobody's going to give you that right to just take it historically. There's no freedom negotiator. There's no freedom beggar. The only freedom fighters, because that freedom is not free. So take it and run away with it. Thank you.
Absolutely. We don't usually do this, but we have an SMWX hoodie.
Oh, thank you, man.
So
Wow.
we hope you'll wear this and remember this interview. So please take this as a token of our appreciation.
I appreciate
Thank
my
you, brother. Like, share, subscribe, comment down below, and make sure you help this channel get to 300,000 subscribers, and let us know, what you think in the comments down below. South Africans watching this, let's make sure we follow not only the National Unity platform, not only Bobi Wine, but also a very important election happening in Uganda in 2026, and make sure that our eyes are on that election, and that all those who participated are protected and are allowed to compete freely and with fairness.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Comment down below. Ayeye.
We say ayeye. Like, share, subscribe, and comment. Ayeye. Cheers.
Thank you, brother.